Are you thinking of starting Microlocs or Sisterlocs? If yes, before you take the plunge into that journey, you would want to know 5 downsides of having Microlocs and Sisterlocs so that you will make a well-informed decision. Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer here from Her Crown. You are so welcome. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about 5 downsides or 5 cons of having Microlocs or Sisterlocs so that you can make a well-informed decision. So without wasting much of your time, let us jump right into the video. The number one con of having Microlocs or Sisterlocs is the cost of installation and the cost of reties. No one tells you how expensive it is to maintain Microlocs or to maintain Sisterlocs. And in fact, because nobody talked about this, I did a video where I detailed out to you all the cost of Microlocs and Sisterlocs here in Nigeria and even in the UK on a yearly basis. So if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to leave it down in the description box. Do help to watch it so that you know how much you'll be dishing out to locticians every single year. Of course, this is going to be different if you are planning to install the Microlocs or the Sisterlocs yourself, or if you're planning to maintain your hair yourself. But if you're planning to pay a loctician, just know that it's quite expensive and it's a direct cost. If you have a loose natural hair and maybe you cornrow your hair, you can just be rocking that wig that you got since 2015. But when it comes to Microlocs, every 4 to 8 weeks, really, you have to retire your hair, and this costs money. The second con is I'm trying to decide if I should call it the lack of versatility or the lack of styling option. But basically, there's a general perception that once you have Microlocs or Sisterlocs, there's only little that you can do with your hair. So to a great extent, that is the case if you're not willing to stretch yourself. This is the reason why I started the segment of my channel, which I called Style and Shine. So I started that segment because there's a general perception that you can't do much with your Microlocs. And I wanted to change that perception, and I wanted to show you all that there's so much you can do with your Microlocs. Like take for example this style now, right now on my hair. This is my Microlocs and I'm looking really nice. Like I'm just turning to this side so you guys can get to see the ponytail behind and to know that you don't have to be stuck with one style. You don't have to be stuck with no styling options once you enter Microlocs or Sisterlocs. But I included this here because there's a general perception that Microlocs and Sisterlocs is boring. If you're adventurous with your hairstyles, you can't do much. So this is the reason why I put this as a con. So if you feel like this style too is boring, then maybe you fall under the category of people that will think that Microlocs and Sisterlocs is not versatile. Now, the third downside to Microlocs and Sisterlocs is the fact that you will deal with some issues that you didn't have to deal with when you were loose natural. One of those issues is the problem of lint. Now, lint are those particles that get stuck inside your lock, your individual lock, and it can give your hair a dirty look even though you've washed your hair. And the reason why those that have Microlocs or Sisterlocs or locks in general, the reason why we are more prone to this kind of issue is the fact that our hair is being warped around each other. So it's not like the case of loose natural hair that things will fly into your hair naturally, but you get to wash it, you get to comb it out and all. But literally, you don't get to comb your hair out anymore. So because you don't get to comb your hair out anymore, those particles may find it difficult to come out of your hair. And so the solution to lint will now have to be you picking it out, which is risky because it can mess with the integrity of your locks. So that's an issue. So lint is a problem. And the next problem is dandruff, which can then turn to lint. And for those that have immature locks or baby locks, they also have to deal with a lot of unraveling and the frizzy look. So those issues, if you don't manage them well, they tend to be the downside of having Microlocs or Sisterlocs. Yes, guys, I know to an extent, some of you may be asking yourself, okay, so I thought you were pro Microlocs and Sisterlocs. You know, you may have seen 1 or 2 of my videos. You may have even seen the pros I gave out just before this video on the reason why I think you should get Microlocs. However, I think it will be a balanced conversation where I also tell you that with every good thing, there sometimes is a bad side. So these are the bad sides. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the 4th downside of having Microlocs or Sisterlocs. You would have to deal with people's perception of locks in general. So especially here in Nigeria, people call locks dada. right? So especially as your locks start to mature and they start to look like real locks, even if they are small, a lot of people may have this perception that, oh, it's dada. Yes, I know that this particular downside is more for people that have traditional locks. In Nigeria, it's not as socially acceptable as it should be, because a lot of people that have this dada are mad people on the road that didn't end up combing their hair, and they look rough and they look dirty and all that. So when they see someone that is put together have that, they are just wondering in themselves, like, why do you have that though? Like, is this acceptable? So it's one of those daring hairstyles that you would have to own, you'd have to accept for yourself, because if you don't, you may not always get the validation that you need outside. Now, when you have Microlocs or Sisterlocs, it's really not as much, and it's really pretty even, but it's really new. It's something also that they are not used to. So it's something that they would keep giving you the looks. Like, I think, I don't know which video now, but I think I told you guys of, yes, in my 6 months anniversary update video on my hair, I think I touched on the fact that a lot of people have not seen this kind of style. It's not yet popular. It's more popular on social media than you'd meet somebody. Like, literally, I personally have not met someone that has the kind of hair I have, but I've seen a lot of those people on social media. And those people that I've seen on social media are usually abroad, or they are just in different parts of Lagos that you can't just bump into them. Although, yes, my sister has it, but I've not even seen my sister. So a lot of perceptions are still being formed, and sometimes they're not pleasant perceptions. So if you're someone that cares about a lot of validation, if you're someone that cares about people's opinions, if you're a people pleaser, you may be affected by it. Now, onto the fifth downside of having microlocs. One thing that I definitely do not like as much is the fact that your microlocs or sister locks, after a new retie, it can give your hair a sparse look. So right now, I'm not dealing with that. Right now, I think the density of my hair is kind of nice, right? So it's kind of full. So it looks cool. However, if you have a lower density, it may give it the space look. It may look like there's too much space between your hair strands, and it may not be a look that you really like. Also, it gives like this whole tight. It looks, after a retie, sometimes it can look as if you're in pain. Meanwhile, you're not, because they're literally trying to streamline your hair and maintain the integrity of your lock, but that can give your scalp a very sparse look. So if that's not your style, you may not like it so much. So those are the 5 cons, the 5 downsides that I came up with. Because generally, to be honest, Microlocs and Sisterlocs is awesome, and I would still, regardless of these cons, still advise that you do it, because a lot of it can be prevented. Talking about number one, when I said maintenance, you can plan yourself and budget that into your monthly or bi-monthly expenses. For the liens and the dandruff and the buildup, you can take care of your scalp, do a lot of scalp care, do a lot of detoxification, and that should solve the problem. With scalps, per scalp, it's just something you have to deal with if you have like lower density hair. But if you don't, you may not deal with it. So you see that in as much as it has its downside, most of it can be worked on. So I am still an advocate for you to do your microlocs or your sisterlocs if you're considering doing that. And yeah, tell me, if currently you have microlocs or sisterlocs, what are the downsides you've experienced? Share it in the comment section below so that we can get to educate ourselves and see how we can combat it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel, share this video with someone you know would need this video, and I'll definitely see you in the next one. Bye guys. Mwah.